Right. Hi, guys. It's Kelly DeCiro here from Find Your Balance, Find Yourself. And I have one of my favorite people here today. I have Beth McPherson, and she is a dear friend and former client, and she is awesome. She makes me laugh. She's super smart, and she can probably do anything that she puts her mind to. I absolutely love working with her. And before I get into that, Beth, why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us a little about yourself?
Hi, I am Beth. I am an accountant ex PwC like Kelly, and I'm working in industry now and just kind of trying to find my way back home from London to the States.
And tell us a little bit about what was going on in your life before we met. So before you sought out coaching.
So I was about halfway through my time in London. I'm kind of on a tour in London with my current company and was feeling very unsettled and unhappy in my role and kind of in my life in general, and didn't feel like I was working in the right field or with the right people. And I have an opportunity coming up to make a switch, or I did at the time, still do. And I just wanted kind of somebody to help me make up my mind.
And as I remember correctly, when we talked about this, and this was top of mind for you. Like all you were really thinking about is like stressing you out. You were thinking about this all the time.
Yes.
So how was that affecting, how you showed up at work or, how you were at home with your husband?
Well, basically, I feel like everybody's kind of encountered this before. When something's getting on your nerves, any little thing that happens, or like especially if a person's getting on my nerves, anything they do, they start breathing, and I'm like, you are so annoying. And so it was kind of like that. I opened my computer, and whatever my computer did was annoying to me and infuriating. And of course, I would take that home, and wasn't very good for my relationship. Obviously, I have a very loving and understanding husband who was on my side and totally supportive. But we could have spent all that time talking about something or else, or like watching TV rather than talking about my horrible job.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean and where you're coming from when things just keep piling and you can't stop thinking about them. It becomes obsessive, and then you start to bring other people into your obsession.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were you trying to do at the time? Like, had you done anything to try to relieve this stress or really figure out what you wanted to do? What were you doing at the time?
So I had read all the books, the Desire Map and the Happiness Project, and I'd done all the little workbooks and the online quizzes and what type of garlic bread would you be, or just all the things that you can do, and listen to Gabby Bernstein's like podcasts or whatever. And basically, if it's on the internet, I did it before I came to you.
So what type of garlic bread are you?
The French bread kind that has like all the like 1 inch of butter and it's in the freezer. That kind.
I can't believe that's a real thing.
Google it.
I will. So you've tried everything. You've done a lot of the online stuff. So what ultimately made you choose working with me?
Well, you had messaged me on LinkedIn maybe or something, and I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn, just like every accountant does. Like, do you want this job and that job? And I usually go through them, and I'm like, no. And then I saw yours, and I was like, who's this girl? I don't know her, but she sounds really nice. And then I went and read all of your, like, I guess, blog posts, or maybe they were just posts on LinkedIn. And it's like, you know what? We have a lot in common. She's not like one of these Instagram influencers who wears really expensive clothes and like has Nordstrom supporting her. Might as well at least talk to her. I mean, it's great if you do get Nordstrom to, by the way, do that for you, but I'll still like
That'd
you.
be
But
nice.
it wasn't like you were this person who I couldn't talk to. So I was like, oh, I might as well just talk to her. And then we had our little call and just seemed right.
Yeah, it definitely did, and whenever I have these calls, like, I can always tell within the first, 5, 10 minutes, like, if the other person on the line is somebody that I wanna work with, and I remember feeling that instantly with you.
Yeah, me too.
So, what was making the decision like? So, we talked for a while on the phone. We talked about you, we talked about the program, and I offered you to join the program, and you had to make the decision. So, what was that like?
Well, I was like, oh gosh, I have to ask my husband. And you're like, okay, do you really think you need to ask your husband? I was like, well, yeah, I have to because we're married and that's the rules. But I mean, I know what he's going to say. So I had made my own decision. And so, we made some sort of deal. And then I went back and asked him, he's like, well, yeah, of course. Like, whatever you want to do, you're in charge of you. So really, it wasn't hard for me at all. It was just a matter of getting permission, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that I think every single person that I talk to has to overcome as well is giving themselves the permission to do something. When we really want something, we pretty much know it, like a gut feeling, like right away that this is what we want. But then we come up with all the reasons why we can't have it or we don't deserve it. And a lot of the times it's easiest to just say, well, I have to ask my husband and say that your husband will say no. And that's not totally fair because then it makes your husband the bad guy in the
Mhm.
situation. It makes your husband the one that is telling you can't have your dreams when for 99% of the people I talk to, like their husbands are totally supportive and support them at everything they do. So they're just making something up and making up excuses. And a lot of times it just takes a lot of courage to get to the point in our lives where we're ready to say, yes, I'm ready to make a change. Because the second you say yes to it, you know that you have to do work and that you have to be committed, and that on the other side, you're not going to be the same person.
Exactly. And it's helpful when your husband or whoever comes back and says, "Yeah, of course." Well, then they're also going to hold you accountable because you've said, "I want to do this. This is our financial, investment in me." And they're like, "Yeah, well, it's on you now. So good luck."
Yeah, I actually remember you went on vacation at one point during the program, and you were saying that you were so committed to doing the work that your husband was like telling you, like, are you going to do your yoga today? Or are you going to do this today? Because he was just as invested as you were.
It was,
So,
yes.
what were some of the first changes that you noticed in working with me and joining the program?
So the first kind of things I started doing I would wake up in the morning, which I've always been a morning person, but I always struggled like what I would just so much rather lay here and look at my phone or whatever than get up and do something. So I just started waking up and doing like visualization, let's visualize the sunrise. That was one of my favorite things that I started doing. And getting up and doing a really, really short meditation or journaling exercise. Um, and just trying to, throughout my day, trying to notice how that changed everything or how it could change things. And like just opening my mind to trying other ways of doing anything. Like not think, because maybe before I would have thought, okay, I'm not going to sit here and visualize the sunrise. That's ridiculous. I could be getting on with my day. But then I was like, you know what? Might as well try because my other methods of life aren't working. So then it just kind of opened my mind to all the other ways of living there are out there.
And do you still see change today? So have you been able to continue some of the practices that you did before, come up with your own? How have things progressed now that you're done with the program?
So there were there are a lot of things I still do. I got up this morning at 5 o'clock. I track myself, get up at your first alarm and, have a little sheet that shows when I did and when I didn't. I do meditation and I do yoga. I try to do it for 30 minutes in the morning. If I can't, I'll do it at night. I do journal. I carry around a little journal that it was actually a Gabby Bernstein thing I heard, that it's like writing down driftwood. So things that happen during the day that maybe I think the universe kind of telling me something, or just something I've asked for, or something really cool happening, and I'll write it down and kind of look over them in the morning. Just have a cup of coffee, spend some time by myself, because it's really the only time I have by myself during the
Yeah.
day. Yeah, I still do that, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny though, because the things that you're mentioning aren't, like earth-shattering things. Um, and it's not something that's like brand new. A lot of people meditate, a lot of people journal, but um, it's amazing the shifts that these little changes can make in your life. So the things that you're mentioning, meditating, yoga, journaling, all these things are not, earth-shattering things. They're not new. They're things that you, I'm sure, read about in all those other books that you got. So how has doing some of these smaller changes made, major impacts or shifts in your life during the program and after?
So I I don't know if this is like a direct, it doesn't seem to be a direct correlation, but one of the biggest things is my confidence in kind of honoring my needs and choosing what is the best thing for me that day. Whether it's the food I eat, I don't, if I want to eat ice cream, I go and eat ice cream with my friends and don't feel guilty about it. Instead of eating it and then moping about all day. I'm like, you know what? My body wanted it and needed it and got it, and here we go. Let's move on to the next thing. Or if I don't want to go and do something with friends or with my husband or whoever might be asking something of me that day, I have learned to saying no is okay. Kind of putting my happiness first, and it is selfish, but also in turn it creates an environment where when we are spending time together, it's much higher quality and I'm not sulking.
Exactly. I don't really see it being selfish when the time that you're spending together is much more enjoyable for both of you. And I actually do think that there is a direct correlation, because what you're really talking about is an increase in intuition and actually trusting your intuition. So a lot of times you probably thought before, when somebody said, "Do you want to go do this?" You thought no, immediately. Like your intuition was, "No, I don't want to do that." But instead you said yes. So this is just being in tune with your intuition, with your gut feeling, and knowing what is right for you. And I think that that is 100% being on your path. Like, even if you don't know everything yet, and I don't think any of us know like exactly what we're supposed to be doing at every given time, when we know how to listen to ourselves and trust ourselves, that's when every little decision made each day eventually leads us to where we want to be.
Exactly. So yes, that I have definitely seen that. I guess it was August of last year that we started talking, and since then I have not done a ton of things I don't want to do, and I have done a ton of puzzles which I've been wanting to do, and it's so much me time and it's amazing.
It's amazing what a little puzzle for yourself will do for you.
Yeah. I mean, really.
So, what was it actually like to work with me?
So you're the only, first and only life coach I've ever had, and I sort of expecting you to be like a psychic medium who told me this is what you're going to do with your life, and I see your future. But instead, you weren't like that. You were like just a cool friend, like sort of therapist sort of person, which actually was better than having a psychic medium. You sort of listened to me and then, would ask me more questions, which in turn would help me figure out, kind of come to conclusions on my own and find my own happiness, which is what I needed. Rather than someone going, here, this is your future, good luck.
Yes, exactly. As much as I think we want that, we want somebody to just like hand us the map. Um, it wouldn't be beneficial. We probably wouldn't believe the map anyway. We'd be like, I'm not supposed to do that.
You're wrong.
That's not for me. So I'm glad that you liked the fact that I didn't give you the answers and that we kind of worked together for you to figure out exactly what it is that you need and what you want.
Yes, that worked out much better.
So, what would you say to someone who's considering working with me?
I would say the first step is to trust yourself and trust that it's okay to invest in yourself. Um, I know that that feels selfish, like I just said, and it's okay to be selfish because if you are not pouring into you, you can't pour into anyone else. And reading books and things is amazing, and you should do that, but that can only sort of take you so far. When speaking and talking to a real person and actually several people that are doing the same thing as you is really, you know, it's powerful, and it's helpful, and talking to someone who's been in your shoes before is just really makes you feel like you're in sort of a family, and it's not just like somebody that knows about your future. It is like a therapist, but it's one that's gonna not just telling you to like sit on the couch and be calm and like take a Xanax. It's more like we're gonna go somewhere from here. We've got solutions. So I think, and it really holds you accountable too, because you can go, oh yeah, I'm gonna take my Myers-Briggs and whatever job it says I should do, I can do that. But having someone going, let's think about it this way, think about this, or you're freaking out. Did you try your pranayama? Like, you know, if you don't have that somebody in your life, then you're not going to be able to go nearly as far.
I love all of that. Thank you. And I guess the last question is, do you feel after our time ended that you're still, supported and empowered to keep going on your journey without me there, by your side?
Yeah. Well, I feel like if I was really falling off the rails, I feel like I could just call you. Or like
Yeah.
if I had some crazy sign from the universe that I needed someone to help me interpret, I would probably just text you and be like, let's see what's going on here. But I don't feel like I need to talk to you every Monday and Wednesday in order to keep myself on. Like I feel like 10 weeks was long enough. Um, and yeah, it's nice to catch up and it'd be nice to stay in touch and stuff like that. But you don't need someone. You're armored with all the tools you need, and as long as you stuck with it and kind of believed in yourself, invest in yourself, you are supported for sure.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you feel supported and you always know that you can reach out to me whenever you need to, because, like I said in the beginning, you're my friend now. So it's not like you're my client and I'm your coach. Now we're just friends. And I think we were friends the whole time, which is why I think it made it so easy to have these conversations and to go deep and just to be really open with each other. So I thank
Definitely.
you for always being open and always being positive and always doing the work that was needed to get where you are. And I am so grateful for you and just really lucky to have you as part of my life.
Aw, thank you. And right back at you. I'm very thankful for you.
Well, thank you for your time today. And for everyone that's watching, again, this was Laurel Beth McPherson, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.